What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, it's been a second since I've done that. I'm glad I didn't stumble through those words, but how you doing?
Yeah, good to see you again. You didn't mess it up. It's good. All right.
All right, that's usually the worst part, but we are definitely going to mess up on some of these names. Everybody's been asking for a draft recap, and as we are I don't want to call us the draft experts, but we do know a thing or two about the MLB draft. Got a lot of good notes here. Definitely watched a lot of the draft and kind of know what's going on, especially on the scouting department side of stuff. So, yeah, man, we're gonna blow through this. Some Angels. We'll just go Angels news real quick. Not necessarily Angels, but Angels signed Johnny Cueto to a minor league deal. Kind of cool to see that. Somebody that we always talk about saying like, oh, hey, go get that type of arm. That you can, put in as a starter and might, be a starter at the major league level too. So good to see
Yeah,
that.
he'll be up for Tyler Anderson after he gets traded.
Okay, we're not talking about trade right now. Thank you. And then you go DSL news, minor league news, Joshua Lugo, Dioris de la Rosa, and also Ubaldo Soto made the All-Star game down in the DSL, having fantastic years down there. Three names definitely got to keep an eye on in the coming years for sure. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. We are here to talk some MLB draft. And Nate, let's get your first reactions on last week's MLB draft because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Start off with a bang too. I mean, as we were looking at which way the Angels were going to go, you were kind of excited the way that things went early, and then as the pick got closer, it was like, oh man, I wanted that guy. Oh man, I wanted that guy. But once it got to the pick, I was happy with the Angels with who the Angels took. I know Perry always drafts off of based off of major league need, which is hilarious. But I think they got a good player right here. I think Christian Moore is a really good player, fun, exciting guy. Had a amazing College World Series. Got to see a lot of him, and I think he was the right pick at that spot.
Yeah, I didn't want to really necessarily jump into the draft picks yet, Nate, but yeah, I'll give my overview then since you already started talking about Christian Moore. Yeah, I kind of like the draft. There's a lot of high upside guys that are that are safe bets. Like they could be good, really good players, but at the very least, you know what they're gonna be. You know what Christian Moore's probably gonna be. But there's a chance he's an all-star, right? Like
Hmm.
you look at a guy like Chris Cortez, Ryan Johnson, Ryan Prager. There's a chance that those guys um could be all-stars. They could be absolutely fantastic draft picks by the Angels. Or they could be number four, number five, really good relievers as well. So and that's kind of the whole thing down the board here as you look at the draft. It's um, Tim McIlvaine did a very good job this year, I thought, of this draft. I don't know if he was in full control. I don't know if Perry was in full control. I don't know if Artie was in full control. But whoever was in 100% full control of this draft, along with the scouts and just the Angels org in particular, I thought they had a very good draft of guys that could be very good players down the road, but also could, you kind of know what they are. So,
Yeah.
any other
The
notes
only
on?
well, the only thing that you bring up is there's a lot of reliever risk in this draft, and that's one thing that's really tough when you allocate all your resources to relievers like the Angels have so far. In the Perry regime, it's been a lot of money to big name relievers, and then you go out and draft a lot of relievers. That is the one concern with this draft. But other than that, like there is like you said, a lot of upside in this draft.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start working our way through this draft. Angels had a good amount of money to spend for the first time in quite some time. Like I said, I thought they definitely capitalized on the money they had to spend. You see a lot of high schoolers in this draft, and guys that we're going to talk about some signings that have already happened, and slot values that are left still remaining in what we think. But we can just kind of start with Christian Moore, who was already signed for just under $5 million. A fantastic value pick there if you're going to go under slot. Definitely thought he was going to sign for a little bit more, but no pun intended. But yeah, he's you like that one. Yeah, he has the ability to be an everyday second baseman with big time power, big time pop. I know everybody's giving him kind of that Dan Uggla type of comp, but when you look at Dan Uggla in his prime years, Like he had some really, really freaking good years there. So I'm not
But
upset.
Christian Moore way more athletic than Dan Engel
Yeah,
was. Like
yeah,
Christian
absolutely.
Moore could steal 30 bags, 40 bags if he really wanted to.
Hmm.
And like we'll talk about with Moore, like if he really wants to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has a shot to be a 30-30 guy if it pans out that way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at the ability on paper and scouting wise, there's a chance that Christian Moore has, could be an all-star year in and year out, really. Like especially at second base, where there's not a lot of great second basemen out there. There are some good second basemen, but there's not a lot of great second basemen. And the Angels now have an up the middle of the future. You go Zach Neto, probably Christian Moore, you'd assume. Trout's out there in center field or maybe moving around here at some point. Logan O'Hoppy's behind the dish. There's a plan in place, and again, like I said, I don't know if this is a Perry draft or this is Tim McIlvain or whose draft this really was, but did a really good job of building pieces. So on to the second round pick, Chris Cortez out of Texas A&M has already signed. They signed him for just under $1.6 million. The slot was 2.07 million, so they go under slot. Just by about 500,000 there. Big arm, upper 90s, fastball with he has a sinker as well, can kick it up to 100 miles an hour. Really good sweeping slider. I guess it's more of a traditional slider.
Yeah, it's
And then
traditional.
you go with the changeup in the works as well there. He'll need the third pitch to start, but yeah, we'll kind of
Really, really
see.
like this kid.
Yeah, so do I. Again, high
I
upside could be an ace type guy, could be a number two type guy for sure. But at the very least, I think he's a reliever there. So we'll kind
yeah,
of
I was gonna say I don't see him as a starter. Honestly, if they didn't give him a chance to start, he could easily be the first guy to the bigs in this draft. But it sounds like the Angels are going to give him a chance to start, which would
they are.
slow the development a little bit. But if they literally just said, "Go to the bullpen, go pitch in the minor leagues for a month," like this guy's good enough to be in the bigs like right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I like the pick. Um, had a feeling that they were going to sign, or not sign, but draft Chris Cortez. Yeah, I really like this pick. Next pick, Ryan Johnson, supplemental second rounder, I think,
Yeah,
compensation second
the
second round.
Shohei Otani
The
pick.
Shohei Otani pick, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know
Poor
if there are
guy.
too many guys that I would with the Shohei Otani pick, you kind of have to go over slot. You have to show that, hey, man, like we got something for this pick. And I really think, there's some reliever risk here as well. It's a funky arm slot. He's 6'6". He can definitely sustain the fastball. It's just if he can keep everything in sync. He's got very good stuff. Mid 90s fastball, can touch 100 miles an hour, plus sweeper. Really good, real good slider. Show me curveball as well that, you know, he's going to need a third pitch as well to start, but there's again some reliever risk there. They already said he's going to go out as a starter. And just a side note between Cortez Johnson and Ryan Prager, who we'll talk about next, I don't know if we'll see them pitch in the minors this year. So it might be a 2025 thing. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But your thoughts on Ryan Johnson?
Yeah, no, I love Ryan Johnson. Big pitcher for DBU this year. Their Friday guy. He goes out and attacks hitters. That's huge. I mean, that's what you want out of a starting pitcher is to be able to go out and attack hitters. Kind of, I don't want to say reminds me of Yamamoto, but kind of like similar.
Just a foot smaller, a
Yeah,
foot
yeah,
taller than Yamamoto.
exactly. But like similar delivery things like that. But yeah, if Yamamoto can do it at the major league level, I think Johnson can do it at the major league level as a starter. He's got good enough stuff, and he doesn't walk guys. That's a big thing for me is the walks, and he goes out and attacks hitters. Like I think he had under 20 walks this year. It was ridiculous in the amount of innings he threw. So really like this pick as well.
The only knock that you have against him is that he's funky, and some of those funky guys end up
Yep.
being some of the best pitchers. So,
Yep.
has not signed as of Sunday when we're recording this. Same thing with Ryan Prager, has not signed yet. The Angels' third round pick. Really like this pick as well. The ability to be a number three guy in a rotation, but at the very least, he could probably be a 4 or 5, maybe a reliever, a high end reliever. So, pitchability lefty, low 90s, good life. The fastball plays up. He has a slider changeup, which are both above average pitches right now, which means, he's got those three pitches to be a starter. He's got the command to be a starter. It wouldn't surprise me if he remains a starter as well. Like I said, plus command, and has a chance to be a mid rotation guy. So it's, and I know people are going to be like, oh, Reed Detmers hasn't been very good, but with what you wanted out of Reed Detmers is what you're hoping to get out of Ryan Prager, that type of guy. And you got him in the third round. which is really cool to see.
Yep. Yeah. He'll be fine. I'm a little concerned with the velo. I know it's a low nines thing. You don't see too many low nine lefties. You really don't see too many low nine guys at all nowadays. But if he's able to change speeds and get guys out, he'll be fine. There were a couple other guys on the board at that time that probably would have been overslot close to what Prager's going to get. That I know you and I would have liked a little bit more, but Prager's fine pitcher. Pitched on a team that made the College World Series. Pitched in some big games. That's another big thing for me. So not a bad pick.
No, not at all. And you look at these the four guys that they've picked right off the board here. You go Tennessee, Texas A&M, DB, Dallas Baptist, and Texas A&M. All big schools. It's not that small school stuff where you're hoping that they continue to
DB is
produce
kind of
because they
small.
haven't been facing very good talent. These guys have faced, I mean, what, three out of four are SEC teams, and then Dallas Baptist is one of the best. I guess, I mean, if you're going to say Dallas
Small
Baptist
school.
is a
Yeah.
small school, then sure, but they
But
go out and they play
they
regionals, they
play
play some of the
everyone.
best teams in the nation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, super excited about these picks. So, next pick in the fourth round was Austin Gordon. They have already signed him. They signed him $900,000 under slot, so just under $575,000. Big physical righty, mid 90s slider type guy, hammer curveball. He's got above average. He's got average command at best, so they're hoping that he can stick as a starter. Right now, he's going to go out as a starter as well, but the command risk definitely shows that he may be a reliever, somebody that you expect to be a reliever down the road. But you see mid to upper 90s stuff, big projectable frame. I again a pick that I really like. I like the big physical, and I'm going to be saying this a lot down the stretch here. Big physical pitchers that know how to throw and have at least two good pitches. So
Yeah. Another underslot guy and another reliever risk guy, which is going to be the theme with a lot of these picks. But pitched at Clemson, another big name school. Throws hard. I mean, you're seeing a theme at least with most of the righties that they've drafted.
yeah, absolutely. And you go to the next pick here, the first high schooler that they take, Dylan Jordan's already signed for 1.2 million, $750,000 or $766,000 over slot. So they really like him. High school kid, like we mentioned, low to mid 90s, with sink on it. He's got the sweepy slider, not necessarily a sweeper, but can sweep it. He's got a changeup in the works, as we know. A lot of these high school kids don't throw the changeup a lot because they don't have to, especially when you're mid to upper nines. A lot of the time, he was an FSU commit. He throws across his body as well, so that's a little bit of a risky thing for me there as well. But we'll see if the Angels can definitely shapen up a pitcher like this and see. It's. I'm going to say this again about another pitcher down the stretch. He's very Jake Madden like. Angels traded Jake Madden to the Rockies for CJ Crone a couple years ago.
Yes.
So I like Jake Madden a lot. I like the stuff that was there, and I'm gonna probably like a guy like Dylan Jordan, and we're gonna talk about Trey Gregory Alford down the stretch here. But what do you got on Dylan Jordan?
Yeah, not as much velo as Jake Madden had. He's a little bit lower nines than Madden was a little bit more mid, but interesting that he's the first high schooler off the board for the Angels. Normally the Angels take it in the 11th round, which they did again, but normally not the first high schooler this early. So they must really like him. The across the body thing is a little bit of a concern for me as well. Hard to continue to keep velo the older you get. So that's going to be one issue for him.
Yeah, absolutely. But a fun arm to keep an eye on for sure. And you look at, I know they drafted him. What do we say in the sixth round here, fifth round? But you look at the 1 point, what they give him, $1.2 million.
Yep.
That's going to probably be in that second to third round range. So they got another second to third rounder here, and we're going to talk about that again in the 11th round with Alfred. So let's move on to Peyton Olenek. Has already signed, went for just under $200,000. The biggest kid in this draft, 6'11".
Yes.
I wouldn't say projectable body, projectable arm, but anytime you can get somebody who's 6'11", you can dream on what he can do. I know everybody was already throwing the John Roush, Sean Helena comps out there. Right now he's low nines, which is weird because he's 6'11", but if he gets it all in sync, which is what the Angels are hoping for, it's probably a reliever down the road. He's got a slider that's a little more cutterish and a changeup as well. Project arm, like I said, and he's more than likely going to be a reliever down the stretch. But
Yep.
6'11", you can dream on a body like that.
Yep. And same thing like we've been talking about reliever risk, another reliever arm most likely, but you know, not a lot of money, so this isn't that big of a risk.
Yep, and we move on to another actual reliever here, Bridger Holmes out of Oregon State. Really, I really like the kid. I already mentioned this, or mentioned the stash the day he got drafted. Already signed for $215,000 under slot there as well. Low nines, funky arm, sidearm guy. Definitely a reliever. Won't be a starter. Good sweeper as well. One of the better sweepers in this draft. We already mentioned Ryan Johnson, who has a good sweeper as well. The command comes and goes as well, but somebody who you can definitely see as being a reliever at the major league level at some point. And again, someone who you drafted in the seventh round here, not a bad pick. Played at a big school, Oregon State. Played in big games against good competition, and was one of their more reliable relievers. So you expect to see that in the Angels minors as well.
Well, and Oregon State might be the best team at producing big league talent over the last couple of years. They've done a really good job with early picks, with mid picks. So um, good to get a reliever out of there. He is a reliever, like we mentioned, but uh, probably their best reliever, which is huge. So
Yep.
hopefully he can continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna clump these next three guys together because they all signed for $1,000. Most of you guys probably wonder why they sign in for $1,000. I don't know if this is how they do it, but they probably go get on the phone with college seniors and say, "Hey, will you sign for $1,000, a plane ticket and $1,000 and a chance to continue to grow?" And that's probably what they did with these next three guys. So shortstop Randy Flores, infielder Randy Flores. Let's call him utility guy Randy Flores because I'll
Yep.
give the report on him in a second. Derek Clark, who I really like, the West Virginia starter, and then Ryan Nichols, who I'll talk about here in a second. Again, all signed for $1,000, saving the Angels about over $500,000 in the draft, where they're able to go ahead and allocate that to other guys. Flores, speedy lefty, who takes good at bats. They may try him in the outfield because he's quick and just an athlete in particular. Nothing too crazy there. He's not gonna blow any stat books away or anything like that. But a good role guy, someone who's gonna be all over the place for the Angels in the minors. Derek Clark, he's I actually watched him in the regional. Love the way he pitched. Made one phone call to a buddy and said, "Hey, like this is a guy that I think the Angels should draft at some point. Like this is a fun type of arm to get." Especially a senior sign, and hey, all of a sudden he gets he gets drafted. So it's good to see somebody like that. Undersized senior bulldog. He's 5'9". Upper 80s fastball, good command, changeup. His changeup's his best pitch. He's got a slider in there as well. Like I said, 5'9". If you want to dream on a Colton Ingram type of guy, then go ahead and do that for sure. But he's probably a starter at the next level. We'll kind of see. And then Ryan Nichols, power hitting first baseman at Kentucky, signed again for $1,000. You can dream on it. He had 23 home runs this last year. Kind of that Matt Kootenai type of guy. If you want to dream on a Jared Walsh type of guy, then sure. But probably more in that Matt Kootenai category. But again, power, you can't teach power. So
Yeah, Nichols, big physical kid again, another big physical um, guy, like we mentioned. I don't know the Jared Walsh comp. I kind of like it. SEC guy, a little bit of pop. You never know what you're going to get out of $1,000, and the other two guys undersized for their positions, but um, everyone needs role players, and all it takes is for one of those guys to keep playing good, and they'll get their shot eventually. So
yeah, the only reason why I
not bad.
don't say Jared Walsh is because Jared Walsh is a major leaguer, and it's hard to think that
That's
Ryan
true.
Nichols is going to be a major leaguer, and
But
Jared
what
Walsh
round
is
did
an
Walsh
all-star
go in?
too.
But
So,
but what round did Walsh go in?
39th. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
there you go.
yeah,
So
you get it.
you
Yes, at the same
yeah.
point, yes, AC's SEC guys that hit really well. They got drafted late for not a lot of money. So let's go ahead and keep rolling here. And third day guys here in the 11th round, the Angels took Trey Gregory Alford. Has not signed yet. It's going to be a big bonus here. It's going to be in that
Yes.
second to third round, maybe early first round range. We'll kind of see how it goes. Oh man, big physical guy. We talk about a Caden Dana type guy. This is definitely him. Somebody that you project is maybe a number one prospect in the system, top 50 guy down the road. 96 to 98. Can touch up triple digits, has a slider, change up in the works because he's a high schooler. So yeah, I really like this. Like I said, big
Hmm.
physical arm, Caden Dana type of guy, and I'm not upset with this pick at all. This is
No,
a
not
great
at
pick for
all.
the Angels.
Really, really good pick out of Colorado. They're going to sign him away from Virginia, which is another really good school for pitchers. So I hope this guy signs. I know there's going to be it's going to be between him and another guy that we're going to talk about here in a second. But this kid, it could be legit ace stuff.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Somebody you got to keep an eye on for sure. Trey Gregory Alford. Next pick, Fran Oshel, I think is how you say his name, just signed with the Angels this Sunday. Today, 150,000, so it doesn't go against the slot value at all. Played for Team USA last year, had a down year with Duke. I really like this pick as well because he's probably more of a reliever type of guy. But if the stuff is there, it's very, very good stuff. Like I said, played for Team USA. Played for Duke in the ACC, I think Duke is.
Yep.
So he's played in some big games there. I think Duke went to a regional, if not a super regional this year. Was a very good team as well. And like I said, somebody to keep an eye out on. He was not didn't have a great year. So if you look at stats this year, it's like all right. But if you look at stats the year before, that's what you dream on. I don't know if you got anything on here on Fran.
No, I mean, like you said, he was supposed to be an early pick. Like I think people had him going 3 through 5 rounds,
Yep.
like before the season, and then didn't have the season they were expecting him to. So
Yeah, reminds me
hopefully he
of
can hopefully he can have that year like he did a couple years back.
Reminds me of a Jared Southard, Bryce Osmond type
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, Texas A&M, Oklahoma State type guy.
Mhm.
So on to the next pick here, 13th round. The Angels took Fulton Lockhart. He's coming off Tommy John. Kind of reminds me of that Riley Bauman type guy who we're seeing not put up great numbers in low A, but has very, very good stuff down there in low A. He's 94 to 96 slider changeup. I said coming off Tommy John, so you don't know what exactly you're going to get, but there's big upside there and someone who you might see slide into the Angels prospect list at some point.
Yeah. You can kind of group the next couple of guys together as well as we're running out of time here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's go Victor or Naher Victor as well. I'm gonna go move down to Will Gervais there too, just because those guys are all pitchers. Victor Naher or Victor Naher, I'm gonna call him that all day. Naher Victor, mid
Mhm.
90s fastball, touches 99 with a power hammer curveball. Probably more of a reliever type guy there. Will Gervais was a Wakefield kid or Wake Forest kid. 93, 96 has a tough time controlling his big body. He's 6'9", I believe. The Angels had a
Yep.
big draft. But somebody to keep an eye on, a Wake Forest kid. So you can dream on those type guys. So anything on those three guys?
Yep. Same thing we've been saying all draft. Big physical kids that throw hard,
Mhm.
reliever risk. I mean, it's kind of cut and paste.
Yep, absolutely. I'm gonna group together these next two guys. So Balin Carabio, I believe is how you say his name, and Lucas Ramirez. The last name Ramirez sounds familiar. This is because this is Manny Ramirez's son. Super athletic, can kind of play all over the diamond. Left-handed swing, pretty smooth. Somebody to keep an eye on for. They've already signed both these guys for $150,000. So great value picks for high schoolers, and guys that you can kind of dream on for sure.
Yep.
Caraballo, big power, similar to the Rio Foster type of pick last year. So expect to see big things out of those guys for sure, at least stat wise on that side of
I'm
stuff.
really excited about Lucas Ramirez. I think he's got a nice swing. He could, like you said, he could play center field. I don't know if he'll play center field. I think he might move to a corner, but like he has a shot to be. I mean, if he's anything like his father, he has a shot to be a really good player.
Yep. And we can kind of talk about these next three guys individually. So David Mershon hasn't signed yet. It's going to be a tougher sign. I think he's a
Mississippi State's
Mississippi State
shortstop.
shortstop there. Switch
He's
hitting,
got another year.
small middle infielder. Can definitely stick up the middle for sure. It can swing it a little bit as well. More gap to gap power for sure, but definitely can run into a couple balls. Might be a tough sign here in the 18th round, I think is when they got him. So we'll see. It'll probably be a little bit of an overslot, I guess, in that $250,000 range. So we'll see if the Angels have any money left to spend, but it might be a tough sign for him.
Yeah, he's still got 2 years left of school if he wants it to, and coming off a year where he hit 350, I mean, he might want to go back to school and see if he can go maybe in that top 5 round thing. So I don't know. That's gonna be a really tough one for the Angels.
Yep. I'm gonna go to the 20th round here because I want to finish it
Yes.
off with Gatwood. So Zachary Redner, Angels 20th rounder here, 90-94 with a sweeper, more of a relief type guy. Was at a CC last year in Florida. Angels love their Florida CC guys. They've done this before. Probably more of an org guy, but maybe somebody to keep an eye on if you see a bump in velo as a reliever.
Yeah, reliever again. What else is like? We can move on.
And then the big pick here in the 19th round, Connor Gatwood probably isn't going to sign. Still fun to talk about a kid like this. Jake Madden type of stuff. Like I said, I was going to mention this again. Mid to upper 90s. He's got a slider. He's got a changeup. Big physical body. I think he's 6'3", 6'4". Just what you look for out of a high schooler that can pitch at the next level. This is him. I don't think they're going to sign him. I think he's a where's he going?
Auburn.
Auburn. So, but somebody that the Angels now have ties with, and maybe we see him get drafted down the line in the first, second, third round at some point.
Yeah, the one thing that makes me think they're going to sign Gregory Alford over Gatwood is, I believe it was on the morning of day three. Gatwood said, "Hey, I'm going to Auburn," and then the Angels took him later that afternoon. They took him in the 19th round, but he had already told Auburn he was in. He was not taking any money. So I think the Angels are really going to have to go way over even what they're going to give Gat or even what they're going to give Gregory Alford. So I think that's gonna make Gatwood a really, really tough sign.
Yep, absolutely. And real quick, first day or first second day guys, where that slot value actually matters. Johnson and Prager, Ryan Johnson and Ryan Prager, the two guys that have not signed yet. Expect for them to sign both just slightly over slot. Right now, the Angels have a just under $5 million to spend. You know that Alfred's going to get in that 1.2 to $1.5 million range. So there's not a whole lot of money left there to spread around. There's a chance I guess they get Gatwood, but I'd highly doubt they get a guy like Gatwood. I'm gonna guess they probably dole out a little bit of money there to David Merchant, the middle infielder
Mm-hmm.
from Mississippi
Yep.
State. So
Yep.
we'll definitely see. Weirder things have definitely happened. You got any final notes here before I let everybody go?
No, just not a bad draft for the Angels. I think I was very excited about it after the first couple days. And the big thing that's going to be the concern with this draft is how many relievers, how many starters. But if they can become big leaguers and help this team at some point, that's all that really matters. Whether it's in the bullpen or as a starter, maybe it allows Perry to spend some money elsewhere if he continues to develop relievers.
Yeah, and side note on that, we're not going to go over the undrafted free agents, but that's something that the Angels definitely could do if they had some money to spend is send it on the undrafted free agent side of stuff. They did it last year with Andy Blake. I think they gave him $100,000 over slot. So that definitely counts towards this draft here. So we'll see if the Angels do that too if they have a little extra money to spend. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking Halos. Really do appreciate it. Hope that you guys like this episode. We really enjoy going over the draft, and this was a fun couple days. No, we'll get Taylor Blake Ward on here in the next week or so to talk a little bit of draft. I know he's busy, but hopefully we'll get him on. And yeah, check us out on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and X. You can follow me on Twitter or X at Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.